Imagine walking into a room where conversations overlap. Laughter spills too loudly, and everyone seems eager to be seen. The air feels crowded with effort. People are performing without realizing it, adjusting their posture, raising their voices, checking who is watching. And then you step in. You don't announce yourself. You don't try to dominate the space. Yet something shifts. A subtle pause. A few heads turn. The energy changes almost imperceptibly. Not because you are the most attractive person there. Not because you are the loudest or the boldest. But because you carry something rare. An unshakable calm. A presence that doesn't demand attention, yet quietly gathers it. In a world addicted to noise, composure becomes magnetic. In a culture obsessed with proving worth, self-possession becomes power. What if true attractiveness isn't about impressing others at all, but about mastering yourself so completely that your silence speaks before you ever do? 1. The Stoic view of inner radiance. The Stoics believed something radical for their time, and perhaps even more radical today. That beauty is not something you apply, but something you cultivate. It does not sit on the surface of the skin. It settles in the discipline of the mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a tranquil soul renders a man invincible. He wasn't speaking about physical strength. He was pointing toward inner order. A person whose thoughts are governed, whose impulses are examined, whose emotions are observed rather than obeyed. That person carries a different kind of light. Think about it. We instantly sense when someone is internally scattered. Their energy feels restless. Their reactions are sharp, rushed, unstable. But when someone is centered, when their inner world is structured and intentional, it creates a quiet gravity. You feel it before you understand it. It is not charisma in the theatrical sense. It is coherence. Their thoughts, words, and actions align. And alignment is powerful. Epictetus taught that we cannot control events, only our judgments about them. This distinction is everything. Most people try to control outcomes. Stoics train to control responses. That shift alone changes how a person moves through life. Instead of reacting impulsively, they pause. Instead of chasing validation, they anchor to principle. Instead of being ruled by moods, they choose direction. Inner radiance, then, is not mystical. It is the visible result of invisible discipline. It is built in private moments, when no one is watching and you choose patience over irritation, truth over convenience, growth over ego. The world sees only the effect. They call it presence. They call it confidence. But what they are actually witnessing is governance of the self, and self-governance is rare. 2. The art of deep attention. In a culture addicted to interruption, attention has become one of the rarest gifts you can offer. Most conversations today are exchanges of performance. One person speaks, while the other prepares a counterpoint. There is nodding, but not listening. There is hearing, but not absorbing. You can feel it when it happens. The subtle tension, the mental absence, the impatience disguised as politeness. Deep attention is different. When you truly listen, you suspend the need to be interesting. You allow silence to exist without rushing to fill it. You observe tone, hesitation, body language. You notice what is not being said as much as what is spoken aloud. This level of attention requires ego to step aside. And that is precisely why it is so powerful. People relax around someone who listens fully. Their shoulders drop, their voice steadies. They feel respected without being flattered. You are not trying to impress them. You are trying to understand them. And understanding builds trust faster than charm ever could. Epictetus advised restraint in speech because he understood that wisdom grows in observation. The more you speak impulsively, the less you learn. The The more you listen intentionally, the more insight you gather. Not just about others, but about yourself. You begin to notice your own internal reactions, your urge to interrupt, your impulse to judge, your desire to dominate. In witnessing these tendencies without acting on them, you gain mastery. Deep attention transforms ordinary conversations into meaningful exchanges. It shifts you from being another voice in the noise to becoming a stabilizing presence. People lean in, not because you are louder, but because you are fully there. And being fully there is magnetic. 3. Becoming the calm in the storm. There is a particular kind of strength that reveals itself only in chaos. Imagine a tense meeting. Deadlines missed, accusations circling the table, voices climbing in volume. Most people absorb the emotional temperature of the room. They escalate with it. Panic spreads like static electricity. Then there is the one person who inhales slowly before speaking, who lowers their voice instead of raising it, who chooses clarity over reaction. That person changes the atmosphere. Calmness is not passivity. It is controlled energy. It is the decision not to mirror external turbulence. Marcus Aurelius compared the mind to a fortress, secure not because storms do not strike it, but because it does not collapse under pressure. When you cultivate inner steadiness, you become that fortress. This does not mean suppressing emotion. Stoicism is often misunderstood as emotional numbness. It is not about denying feeling. It is about managing response. You can acknowledge frustration without letting it dictate your behavior. You can experience disappointment without broadcasting instability. Why is this attractive? Because calm signals safety. When someone remains composed, others instinctively feel protected from escalation. Your steadiness becomes a refuge. In a world where reactions are instant and exaggerated, restraint feels powerful. Cultivating calm requires practice. Breathing intentionally when tension rises. Delaying immediate responses. Questioning catastrophic thoughts before believing them. Over time, your nervous system learns not to treat every challenge as a threat. You become less reactive, more deliberate. And when people sense that nothing easily rattles you, they perceive strength, not loud strength, but grounded strength. 4. Words that carry weight. Some individuals speak often, but leave no impression. Others speak rarely and shift the room. The difference is not vocabulary. It is intention. When words are used to fill silence or chase approval, they lose force. But when speech emerges from reflection, it carries gravity. Stoics understood that language should serve truth, not ego. Epictetus advised speaking only when necessary, and when speaking, ensuring that it improves upon silence. This discipline transforms communication. Instead of reacting instantly, you pause. You ask yourself, is this helpful? Is it honest? Is it necessary? That brief internal filter elevates your language. It removes exaggeration. It strips away performative commentary. What remains is clarity. Clarity commands attention. Purposeful speech also builds credibility. When your actions consistently match your words, people learn to trust your statements. You are not dramatic. You are not inconsistent. You are steady. Over time, even a simple sentence from you holds more impact than a speech from someone unreliable. There is another subtle power in measured speech. It forces others to listen. When you are not constantly talking, your voice becomes rare, and rarity increases value. People lean closer when you begin to speak because they know you do not waste words. This does not mean silence at all costs. It means thoughtful expression. It means resisting the urge to dominate conversations. It means allowing your presence to precede your voice. When speech becomes deliberate rather than impulsive, your words stop competing for attention. They earn it. 5. Strength revealed in hardship. Comfort hides character. Adversity reveals it. It is easy to appear composed when circumstances are favorable. Success smooths over flaws. Praise masks insecurity. But when plans collapse, when loss enters the room, when expectations dissolve, this is where true presence is tested. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action." Obstacles are not interruptions to growth, they are catalysts for it. Every challenge exposes the structure of your inner world. Do you blame immediately? Do you retreat into bitterness? Or do you pause and ask what can be learned? Strength in hardship is not dramatic defiance. It is quiet resilience. It is the ability to remain kind when disappointed, to remain fair when wronged, to remain focused when distracted by difficulty. Think of someone you deeply respect. Chances are their strength was forged in struggle, not because they avoided pain, but because they faced it without surrendering integrity. That steadiness leaves an imprint. It signals depth. When you encounter hardship with composure, others observe something powerful. You are not controlled by circumstance. You may feel the weight, but you are not crushed by it. You adapt. You recalibrate. You move forward. This quality inspires trust. If you can withstand pressure without fracturing, people believe you can be relied upon. And reliability is profoundly attractive. Adversity, then, is not something to fear. It is an opportunity to demonstrate the solidity of your character. Each difficulty becomes evidence of growth rather than proof of defeat. And growth under pressure is unforgettable. 6. Choosing character over applause. Approval is intoxicating. It feels good to be liked, validated, praised. But dependence on approval weakens presence. When your decisions are guided primarily by how others will react, you begin to fragment. You say yes when you mean no. You soften truths to avoid discomfort. You adjust opinions to match the room. Gradually, authenticity erodes. The Stoics warned against this subtle erosion. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that public opinion is fleeting. Virtue, however, is stable. When you anchor your identity in principle rather than applause, you become consistent. Consistency builds trust. Imagine someone who calmly declines an invitation that conflicts with their values. No anger, no apology, just clarity. That clarity commands respect, even from those who disagree. Why? Because it signals internal alignment. This person is not easily swayed. They are guided by something deeper than social approval. Choosing character over applause requires courage. It may mean temporary discomfort. It may mean standing alone. But over time, it strengthens your presence. People sense when someone is not performing. Authenticity carries a different energy. It feels grounded, not desperate. There is a paradox here. The less you chase approval, the more respect you receive. When you are not seeking validation, your interactions become freer. You speak honestly. You act decisively. You move without constantly scanning for reactions. And that freedom is magnetic. 7. Progress over perfection. Perfection creates pressure. Progress creates momentum. Modern culture often glorifies flawless images and curated lives. But perfection is static. It leaves no room for humanity. When someone appears too polished, too controlled, too ideal, it can create distance rather than connection. Growth, on the other hand, feels alive. The Stoics did not aim to be perfect sages. They aimed to improve daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote personal reflections acknowledging his own shortcomings. He did not deny flaws. He worked on them. This humility made his philosophy practical, not theoretical. When you focus on progress, mistakes lose their sting. They become data, lessons, evidence that you are stretching beyond comfort. Instead of asking, "Am I flawless?" you ask, "Am I better than yesterday?" That shift transforms self-criticism into self-development. People are drawn to those who are evolving, not because they have mastered everything, but because they are clearly engaged in growth. Effort signals vitality. It communicates that you are invested in becoming stronger, wiser, more grounded. There is also relief in embracing imperfection. When you accept that growth is ongoing, you stop pretending. You admit missteps. You apologize when necessary. You adjust without defensiveness. This honesty builds deeper connection than perfection ever could. Progress radiates hope. It suggests possibility. It shows that change is real and attainable. And humans are naturally drawn to what is alive, moving, and improving. 8. The power of governing yourself. All these habits converge in one principle: self-governance. Listening deeply, remaining calm, speaking with intention, standing firm in adversity, choosing integrity, committing to growth. These are not isolated skills. They are expressions of a governed mind. When you master your impulses, you no longer react automatically. When you master your fears, you no longer chase validation. When you master your thoughts, you no longer become captive to circumstance. Self-governance creates freedom. You are free from comparison, free from emotional volatility, free from the quiet desperation to prove something to everyone. And when that pressure dissolves, something changes in the way you carry yourself. You stop performing. You start embodying. True strength is not loud. It does not argue for attention. It does not announce itself. It is felt. In a noisy world, composure stands out. In a reactive culture, restraint becomes rare, and rarity commands presence. The Stoics understood something simple but powerful. We cannot control how others see us, but we can control who we become. And over time, who you become shapes how the world responds to you. If this resonated with you, write this in the comments. I choose self-mastery, not for anyone else, for yourself. And if you value conversations like this, consider subscribing to Stoic Horology. This space is built for those who prefer depth over noise and character over applause. If the message earned it, you can leave a like. It helps this philosophy reach people who are quietly working on themselves just like you.